Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to today's session. Apologies for take two in starting today's webinar. It was every presenter's dream to have their camera go dead at the moment you're actually supposed to go live. So thanks for Jack and Dave in the UK office who've been helping out with the video and audio. So I hope you can hear us. If you can just perhaps confirm that in the chat. How's the sound for everyone? Are we getting through? Let's take another look at the settings. Okay, this sound is not very good. Okay, tough to hear. Sounds muffled. Okay, let's just fix that. Just bear with me a second. It's amazing over the last couple of years how we've all become audio-visual technicians when working from home. All right. Just making some adjustments. It sounds much better now. Okay, lovely. Thank goodness. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Jack, if you can put up the presentation, that would be great. Thank you so much. Today is really a follow-up session from last week's Securing New Job Opportunities on LinkedIn. So what's the difference between what we presented last week and this week? This week, we're going to get down and actually start to drive the keyboard and showing you how to look to build advocacy inside of the organizations that you're working for, that you wish to work for. And one of the ways that we've found works well is when you start to take an interest in the company and the individuals in the hiring team first, because we all know that it's a lot easier when you've got advocates or internal referrals. Those folks generally are always able to secure an interview. So let's, for those of you who weren't here last week, don't worry, we're going to put a link in the chat so that you'll have access to these resources. And obviously, if you share with us an email at hello@maverick.com, you will make sure that you get today's presentation. And I'm sure Jack and David will make sure that the initial audio snafus are all squared away. All right, so let's get started. This was a quick reminder from last week as to why we should be using LinkedIn. The old mechanism of job search with resume, search and submit, and this merry-go-round where you're constantly submitting resumes, but never actually hearing something back. It's as if your resume is disappearing into a black hole. What we want to remember is that your LinkedIn profile and your resume and your cover letter are your marketing materials. And so they're only serving you when people are actually paying attention to them. Now, as a quick reminder again, what is LinkedIn telling recruiters? What will help a recruiter establish the reputation of finding really good people really quickly? It's because when the recruiter tells LinkedIn what you're looking for, and how do they do that? It's a job description. When they upload that job description, LinkedIn's algorithm says, okay, you're looking for these skills, this sort of background, this industry, this length of tenure, etc. And LinkedIn's algorithm cleverly goes away and comes up with search results of people who match that job profile. And so if you think about how we go about searching for anything today, we feel that the things that land on the first page of the search results are most relevant to us. And this carries over to the recruiters. They feel that people are simply more relevant for their opportunity when they land on the first or second page versus the 10th or 30th page. Now, for this algorithmic magic, LinkedIn charges recruiters $9,000 a year for that license. Now, that sounds like a lot of money when many of us are either using the free version of LinkedIn, or we perhaps paid for Sales Navigator for $99 a month. So 9,000 is obviously doing something more than simply matching up the job description with potential candidates. Just because you can find somebody doesn't necessarily mean to say that that's the end of the story. What LinkedIn does, it allows recruiters to sort and portion off the most prospective, the most viable candidate to their candidate pipeline. Now, whether it's 6 profiles or whether it's a dozen, it's entirely up to the recruiter to say, okay, I feel that I've got enough people to work with right now. It's these people who are then going to be contacted by the recruiter and ask for a copy of your profile. So a couple of things that I've just shared that should be aha moments for you. If a recruiter cannot find you on LinkedIn, you may appear in the search, but if you are buried on page 30, they're never getting to you. Secondly, if a recruiter does not like what they see on your profile, then they're hardly likely to ask you for a copy of your resume in order for you to then change their minds. And so we want to make sure that our profile is full. We've certainly got a picture in there. We don't use the default. And we know from the analytics that you're exponentially more likely to have somebody engage with you when you look like a polite, professional, fun person from your profile. Because if you think of your LinkedIn profile as my company website, my face is my company logo. Just like a company wanting its website on the first page of Google because that's where business happens, you're looking for your profile to be on the first page of the LinkedIn search results because that's where the interviews are happening. So what we suggested last week after building out your profile, and again, we've got a link so that you can get the ebooks that we shared as to how to build a great profile. Our session last week talks you through that. Once you're ready for prime time, then you can start to engage with people. And this was the mechanism that we offered, that you start to form a relationship with recruiters, with the members of the C-suite, perhaps if you're in sales, the VP of sales, or if you're in IT, the CTO, CIO, VP of IT services. And so it's a way to start to get your face and your name known and for people to start visiting your profile. So if you have followed along and you have followed this direction, how do you know that it's actually working for you? So I'm just going to ask Jack if we can just pop out of this slideshow, and I'm going to share my screen right now. Just share it. Okay. How do I know that it's working? It's because I've got a noticeable difference in the amount of people looking at my profile. Oops. Jack, can we just make a change to the presentation? Okay. Let me just send Jack a note. Okay. It looks like the technology issues of the gremlins are still in the system. Jack, are we able to change? Just in the comments, can you still? Still here? Hey, Catherine, can you let me know if you can still hear me? Oh, the studio's saying yes, yes, you can hear me. Okay. I do apologize, folks, for the thank you so much, Catherine, for letting me know that you can still hear me. So if you'd taken the action that we'd shared last week in building out your profile and then starting this engagement, what you're going to start to notice is that more and more people are starting to pay attention to your profile. Now, you might say to me, well, Graham, that looks like an old version of how LinkedIn shared how you rank, who's viewed your profile, who's looking at your posts. You're absolutely right. This is a more modern version of how it looks. But what you're seeing is the principle is still the same. Before you make that grand opening, like on opening night at a restaurant, you want to make sure that your profile is the very best version of you. then you start that cadence of visiting the companies and engaging with the individuals inside of those companies, because you want them to take an interest in you, and you're going to start it by showing interest in them. And so again, a few weeks before this screenshot was taken, that's where all of last week's work is accomplished. And even though, and this one might be a trip down memory lane for some of you, especially if you've been on the platform for 12 or 15 years, this is how LinkedIn used to show the activity. And so the principles are still the same. Before you look to make a first impression, in the weeks before, leave a positive, build it up so you're not understating or underrepresenting your value. Now, appearances in a search. Last week we talked about how you can comment on the intended company's posts. You can comment on the individuals and their posts. And what LinkedIn is doing, it's saying, I see that you're very engaged now in the platform, Graham. And because of your engagement, not just the keywords on your profile, we are going to start to elevate you in search appearances. And so as views increase, which is a lot quicker to get, and therefore just following this approach from almost 10 years ago now, we see that the search appearances keep increasing. Okay, so that's the metrics. And if you want to know that you've definitively started this process, then check out the number of views on your profile, how many people you're connected with, and the number of times that you've appeared in a search. And then if you do post something, then take a look, check out how many people are engaging with that post. Okay, so let's just close that down now, and I'm going to move over back to the presentation. You think we can do this, Jack, without? Oh, yes, we can. All right. Oops. And Jack is telling me I need to upload my presentation again. Okay, there we go. All right. So now what we're going to look at is, okay, we've got all of this activity. What should we be doing with it? And what we have is a document called Activating Your Network. It's an ebook that describes what you should be doing as you start to engage these new followers, the people that you're making connections with. And if you want to send us a email to hello@maverick.com, we'll send you the edited version of today's session, less the interruptions, and we will get into the detail of how to go about raising your visibility and your appearances in search. Okay. I tell you what, Jack, rather than jumping in and out of the presentations, I'm just going to go back to my screen, and we'll just regroup when it comes to how we mix or blend in. Okay. All right. So what we're looking to do with activating your network is, it should look like something like this, right? Okay, you've got a whole bunch of activity coming in, which means that you're receiving a lot of messages in your inbox. And what we want to do is to maintain that we're always being polite, professional, and courteous in our search. And how do we craft the messages in order to share that? And so what we've done in this document is we've put together a message library. How do you invite people to connect? And how do you respond to people who have connected with you? Now, as we say here, we can't stress enough how to take our library of responses and just make it your own. Because remember, who a recruiter feels that they are meeting online with your LinkedIn presence and when you share your resume should be who turns up for the interview. So just make sure that you personalize it. But we've always found it's a lot easier to be an editor when it comes to these things than actually I'm starting from a blank sheet of paper and where do I even start? Okay, so I'd like to give you some perspective on LinkedIn. And the key here, it's networking, it's not selling. And what do I mean by that? When you're in a job search, you're looking to sell your services. And what that might look like when you're selling is this. Hey, Graham, do you know of any opportunities? Graham, you're a recruiter. Can I send you a copy of my resume? Graham, can you help me figure out how to land a job? Or can you refer me to one of your connections because I'm looking for a new opportunity? Now, to the recruiter, that feels like, excuse me, a lot of to-dos, and I don't even know you. And so if you've ever encountered from a recruiter that you've sent out notes and you haven't heard anything back, if you have, God bless that recruiter, because universally recruiters are telling us that they receive so many requests to review their resumes, people's resumes, who they don't know, or can they connect the dots, or can they, submit them and their information to a particular opening that a recruiter has. To-do list, to-do list, to-do list, and I don't know you. And so what we're going to do is we're focusing on the networking because we want to build up reciprocity. Remember that we are helping others to achieve their success. And so how do we help a recruiter be successful? Well, once you start connecting with them and you start engaging, if you have a strong background in healthcare, in IT, in sales, then just send them a note that says, I'm well connected in this industry. If you're struggling with any opportunities, I'm more than happy to offer some referrals or even connect the dots. Okay, so the strategies are what are we going to do if we've got 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 50 minutes to spend on LinkedIn? So I'm just going to move my documents to one side. And if you do have two screens or you've got one screen, I would recommend having our ebook on one screen or tab and your LinkedIn profile on the other. And so I am now going to enter the 5-minute drill. And what I mean by that is that you might be working, busy social life, etc. Life just gets in the way. And when you're looking for a job, sometimes it can feel like a full-time job. And so if you're going to spend any time whatsoever, whether it's 5, 15 or 50 minutes, you want to make sure that you're getting the very best ROI out of that time invested. So what we're going to do then is we've already built our profile. We've already established that we're appearing in searches and we've got plenty of people looking at us. And because I'm recommending to you what we do for ourselves, in the last week, it looks like about 22,000 people have engaged with my post. So I know that I'm getting visibility, but I've got 5 minutes and I'm looking for a new job. What do I do? Well, obviously, I've got a background in social selling. And so I'm going to start this from scratch. You can see me rehearsing here earlier. So I'm going to start off with social selling, because these are the keywords that I'm interested in. Hitting return, and nothing's happening. Okay, let's say in the United States. There we go. All right. Oh, good Lord. All right. Because we've only got 5 minutes, it means that jobs that have been posted 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, we don't have time to address them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's start narrowing it down to jobs that was seen in the last week. And what we're going to notice is we're going to go from about 1,500 results to something that's more relevant, 535. Now, if I follow the traditional apply button, follow the apply, then I'm going to jump onto the company website and go through the application process. That's too long. We don't have time for that. This is just what do I have time for in 5 minutes. And so I feel that director or executive level, now I'm down to 21, and I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit the easy apply, which means that there is one position that's open. And I'm going to save this as an alert. Now, what is easy apply? If you haven't used it before, it's a way that LinkedIn allows recruiters to set up the application process to be as easy and smooth as possible. And if you make it difficult for good applicants to apply for your job, just like if you make it difficult for people to do business with you in your company, then you're probably not going to get as many clients, or in the company's case, you're not likely to get as many applicants if you take somebody through, submit your resume, fill out the form, and then send your LinkedIn profile. And if you've ever been through the job application process, my heart goes out to you if you spent 20 minutes filling it all in and then you hit submit and you get timed out, or it's been a frustrating process. So easy apply does what it says. It makes it easy to apply for a position. And what it does is you work your way through, it remembers all of the typical questions that are asked. My home city is a very sunny day today here in Minneapolis. It's obviously been a while since I last ran this session, around the pre-pandemic. I've also got an opportunity to upload my cover letter. Now, once the cover letter and the resume are uploaded, then you don't have to keep uploading it. The system will simply remember. Now, when it comes to naming your resume, please just put your first name, last name, and call it your resume. First name, last name, cover letter. Don't put on Riley Graham resume version 3.1 sales. They might not like version 3.1. They might prefer version 3.2. Just don't put the version numbers down. Just keep it simple. Resume, cover letter. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to select definitively a pale white English guy. I'm not a protected veteran, and despite what my colleagues at Maverick might say, I do not have a disability. So moving on. And so it's going to start to ask questions. So let's just fill this in. If it's different from above, no. Would you like to include your LinkedIn profile? I find this very curious, since it's the LinkedIn profile that I'm using to apply, but why the heck not? So I'm just going up here and capturing it, pop it in there. Sample letter. Okay, for this particular one, I wasn't set up for that. How do I hear about this job? LinkedIn. And immigration, no, I do not need any future. Acknowledge and confirm. And then I'd hit review and it'd have all of the information, and then I submit. The more times that you go through, do you require and answer questions about immigration, uploading your resume, uploading your profile, the more you use Easy Apply, the quicker it can go through and quicker you can start to apply. Now, if I just cancel out of that, just going to discard it, and I'm going to change social selling to sales. Past week, Easy Apply. Client success, you see it's remembered my information, remembers my profile. Yes, I have. 220, aging myself. Yes, I am. Review. And this is how it would work. And then I submit the application. Let's take a look at this one. Easy Apply. Remembered the information. Next. 20, review, and submit. So now you can see that if I only have 5 minutes, I applied for those jobs in less than 30 seconds. And so if you are in sales versus, specifically social selling, you can see that there are plenty of opportunities to start to work your way through. So I've shown you the Easy Apply. That's what I'm doing in 5 minutes. Now we're going to start to move over into the 15-minute realm. So I'm just going to jump back into jobs, and I'm going to go to my jobs and the ones that I've applied for. These are the ones that I applied for a few minutes ago. So now I've got 15 minutes. I'm going to start taking a look at who's involved in the hiring process. Well, obviously, Irene's involved because she posted it. And what I'm going to do now is what we shared earlier is I visited her profile. She's going to see that in her notifications. I'm going to follow her, and then I'm going to start to like some of her posts. Now, what I can also do is I can also send this to her, and it's Irene. I'm not a first level connection of Irene, but what I can do is share connect, and I'd welcome the opportunity to add you and your expertise to my network. Thanks for the consideration. Right. Now, if you haven't installed the tool, I would recommend that you install a free plugin called Grammarly, G for Grammarly. It sits up here in the toolbar. And what it will do, it was heavily underline in red if you're ever about to send something out which contains a spelling error or an issue with grammar. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to send it. Now, if I take a look at the company and look at the people, who would I reasonably expect to engage with if I was to interview? I might interview with the COO, perhaps the director of servicing, perhaps the CEO. And what we're going to do is simply send them that same note. We haven't mentioned anything about being open to work. What we're leaning on is our subject matter expertise. Now, if you do have a open to work ribbon or banner next to your profile, my 2 cents is that you remove it. We understand that you're looking for a new position, but the fact that you are looking for a new position isn't going to prompt somebody to employ you. The reason that there's a position is that there's a problem inside of the business. They need to attract skills and talents to address that problem. And so that's why I've made the strong case for building out your profile first, because you're going to be hired for your subject matter expertise and abilities versus the fact that you're simply available. And so in that 15 minutes, what we're looking to do is not only apply for the positions, but also then to start to network into the organization so that when the hiring manager, when the recruiter starts to take a look at all of the applicants that they've started to receive, they see that you just so happens to be connected with the COO or the CEO or the head of HR. Now, they don't know that you connected with them, this week. They don't know the strength of that relationship, but obviously it looks like you're connected with the right people internally who are going to be involved in the hiring process. Now, if I was to take a little bit more time, that 50 minutes, what I would be doing is I'd be first of all checking, does Amy have things that she shared? Absolutely, she does. Now, it was 7 months ago, so it's not as relevant today. So let's take a look at Fernando. He hasn't posted anything. And just go back one. Has Jeffrey shared anything? Posts. Yes, it is. So be worth following him, because remember, every time you engage with somebody, it appears up here with, I'll just show you. Every time somebody likes something or mentions something that you're doing, they get notified. And the idea then is that your smiling profile photograph is always in their stream. Because again, we're looking to not have just a cold application. Let's say there's an opportunity, you think you'd be an ideal candidate, and you simply submit your resume along with 200 other people who submitted their resume. Submitting a resume does not foster a relationship or a differentiator with the hiring team. You're amongst 200 other people, and the analysis shows that recruiters are simply spending on average around 7 seconds looking at a resume. What you're doing with this mechanism is that you are starting to have your face and your name appear in your target audience's presence. Now, you might say, well, Graham, there's companies that are not advertising for a position. And it's true, many organizations don't always publish their opportunities. That's why there's the whole industry of executive search, retained recruiters to go out and find the individuals. Just because they upload the job description doesn't necessarily mean to say that it gets posted or they post the position. If there is currently an incumbent inside of an organization, this story was shared with me about 10 years ago. And we have several large Fortune 500 companies in town. And the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, is known as a small city. Everyone knows what everyone else is doing. And so a recruiter said that we don't actually use our own recruiters if somebody's currently working in the job, because that will just give everyone has got a best friend and knows somebody. And so what we do is we engage recruiters in Chicago or Denver, two major metropolitan areas, relatively as you can be in the US, close to Minneapolis, and they use these out-of-town recruiters to start to conduct the searches. So they weren't necessarily sharing that a 3M or United Healthcare or Best Buy were looking to backfill somebody who was perhaps on the way out of the door. So if there's an organization where you'd love to work, let's say that you've heard that Best Buy, local company in town, is somewhere where you'd like to work, but after going through the Best Buy jobs, there is nothing right now available in that space. So if you want to work there, I'm not saying that you do, but this is true whether it's Target, Amazon, Walmart, Apple, you name the company, is go and start to follow the company and then take a look at the people. And what you can do is, and this is because I have Sales Navigator, is I can start to view who's a senior, perhaps hiring manager in the company. And I see that there's 3,000 of them. It looks like I am connected with 18 of them, connected with the CEO, so that's going to help. But let's have a look at second degree connections. And if I want to put in here their function, perhaps talent. Oops, let's do this. Talent or recruiter. Let's see how many people come up. If only I could spell recruiter correctly. Okay, there we go. And there's another shameless plug for Grammarly. So we see that I've got 96 people. These should be my target for connecting with them. Because, for example, Bernadette, head of talent acquisition, she's been there for nearly 11 years. If anybody knows about opportunities that are not yet advertised or opportunities that are coming up, she'd be the one to know. So start to foster this relationship with people you are likely to engage with in the hiring process. Now, you might say, well, Graham, I don't have Sales Navigator. So let's just go back here. And all I'm putting in here is talent or recruiter. I'm looking at people. And their current company is Best Buy. So you don't necessarily need Sales Navigator to help find anybody. What I would offer is that if you're looking for a position and time is of the essence in landing a new job, which it usually is, if you've got a free account, you're going to get a month's free of any of the premium. If you haven't signed up before, you're going to get a month's free use before they start charging your credit card. Now, Sales Navigator is $99 a month. And what I would offer is, if you're following this process that we've highlighted in last week's session and in this week's session, then having Sales Navigator for $99 for 2 months, it's going to give you all of the data for finding the right people in the organizations where you wish to work. And it's also going to help you gain some insights on the metrics surrounding your profile so that you can see improvement. Looking for a job, you can have the worst of days and the best of days all on the same day. It can be a very, very frustrating process. And with that frustration comes some angst that how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our skills. You don't have a skill issue. If you're in sales, you can sell. If you're in IT, you can support, help, install, maintain systems. You have a marketing issue. You don't have a delivery issue. There's nothing wrong with your skills. The issue is in marketing those skills. That's where the issue is. And the biggest issues that you're facing are being a well-kept secret and understating and underrepresenting your value. Those are the two problems that you're solving for. So I'm just going to pull up now. I'm just going to go back into our live feed. Okay. Is this making sense to people? Can you just give me an indication of did I lose you in the okay. Anybody? Okay. Let's just jump back to move source. I'm just going to jump back to the presentation. Just jumping back to the presentation, Jack. Okay. Oh, thank goodness. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, it is making sense. There was some latency. So thank you so much for hanging in there. Let's go and have a look now. Okay. So remember, it's not follows, it's community. You can't just be a static billboard inside of LinkedIn, not relationship forming. And we know that relationships influence decisions. The decision that you're looking to influence is, are we going to bring in Joanne, Nikki, Nicole, Greg, Catherine, Graham in for an interview? And because you're taking these steps, your face and your name is becoming known. And so while you may have submitted your resume, you have done something different than what the other candidates who've applied are doing. This churn of search, resume, submit, search, resume, submit, apply. That can't be your only metric in the job search, because every time you don't hear back, it feels like silent rejection. And so what you are doing inside of LinkedIn, you can demonstratively see the number of people in the C-suite that I'm connected with is increasing. The number of recruiters I'm connecting with is increasing. I'm engaging. I've got conversations going inside of my profile. There's activity. And if you have been looking for several months and you're just up to here with the job search process, I would recommend that you stop applying for jobs. Now, that sounds counterintuitive, but just give yourself a mental break and go right back to the beginning. Remember, you don't have a skills issue, it's a marketing issue. So check your profile again. Even something as simple as, are you using all of the 50 skills in your profile? And so if you got 2 or 3 job descriptions and you're thinking to yourself, I'd be a great fit for that role, print it off, take out the highlighting pen and highlight the skills in green that you have. And then with those pages, those markup job descriptions, go to your profile and say, how many of the things that these jobs are looking for, how many of them of the skills do I have that actually matches? Because if you think of your skills, these are the key words that you would have in your LinkedIn. Start again. These are the keywords that a company would use in order to rate higher in Google search. Google's just an algorithm. So the reason that there are 50 skills in there is to simply help the algorithms find good qualified people for the recruiters. Remember, they're charging the recruiters $9,000 for the license. And recruiters are constantly saying, where are all the good people? The reality is that the good people are not updating the keywords. And if you think of your top 3 skills, scroll down your profile and look at them. Are they the first 3 skills that you see? There's a reason that you don't see all 50. It only gives you the top 3. So if I was to scroll down as a recruiter, what impression do you want me to have coming away from that? Now, I know that we're coming up on time. I've made several references to securing new job opportunities on LinkedIn. The link is right there. I'll ask Emily, my colleague here, to share that link again. Now, again, we've had a couple of technical snafus, which, sometimes happens. So we will edit this down to make sure that you're just seeing the highlights versus the hunting and pecking to get the audio visual set up. And we understand that the job search is very personal. So if you have questions about how you're currently marketing yourself, or if you've been frustrated, at Maverick, we are here to help over 1 million people be successful with LinkedIn. Give us an opportunity to be helpful. And so we will share this information, and we'll also share, if you do send us an email at hello@Maverick, we'll make sure that you have the ebooks, the resources, etc., so that you can go through this. And also, there'll be a link there. If you want to have a consultation, then just book some time with me. We've helped so many people secure new positions by following this approach. We've helped several thousand, and we can help you. So please don't suffer in silence. Leverage the materials. This works. And obviously asking personal questions about your job, etc., in a chat feed that's public domain, don't do that. just reach out to me directly, and we'll make sure that you get the answers and the information that you need. Okay, it looks like we are coming up on our time. Thank you very much. If you have enjoyed today's session, then please follow us. Go to Maverick North America for our upcoming sessions. Book some time. Give us a thumbs up or a like. Endorse my skills. Leave a recommendation. But if we have been helpful to you, please share this with others. And from myself, Graham, Jack, and Dave manning the behind the scenes over in the UK, and from all of the Maverick team, we wish you every success in landing that next great opportunity. Thanks, and have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're joining from. Thank you.